Okay, and we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome back. If you've been here before, if you're new here, hi, hello. My name is Vina, aka Miss WC Reader, and today my writing sprints are with my lovely co host, Kashay from the channel Shay with the Hobbies, who is currently running a readathon. You go on and introduce yourself, Shay.
I forgot I haven't put batteries back in my mouse. I was like, oh, I gotta actually touch the computer mouse. My bad. Hi everybody, I'm Kashay. My channel is Shay with the Hobbies. I write, I read, I create stuff, and I skate. So there's that. But we are just now ending. Today is the last day of week 3 of the Missy Elliott Readathon. So we're going into week 4. I'm having a great time with the books I'm reading. I have covered all the prompts now twice, so I'm on my 3rd round of going through the prompts. So I'm kind of like excited about that.
That is good, because you've really been getting some reading done this month.
Yeah, I'm knocking stuff out. So I'm like halfway through the violin conspiracy now. And I ended up at my library. I went to my local library yesterday. They ended up having a physical copy of How Long the Black Future Month, and I put that in my blog post that I wanted to try to get that out. So I was like, okay, I'll check that out from the library and try to read that before the month is out. So.
Okay. That's good. I'm like all over the place with my reading because all my I got like my 5 library cards now, so all my holds came in at once, and I'm just like I'm trying to read this, and I'm trying to read this, and I'm trying to reread something because I'm trying to put together a little interview, and so I'm like all over the place, working on about 8 books right now.
Yeah, no, I've had to be like, I can't add anything new to my TBR. If it's not something I've already said I wanted to read, I have to push it till next month. I have to push it to next month. And it's crazy because there's a few authors that I didn't know had books coming out that I've been liking their stuff.
You on mute?
I was really over here talking, really just chattering
Yeah,
away.
you went on mute like right after you said there's a few authors you like their stuff with books.
Oh, I don't know how I did that. Okay. There's a few authors that I like their stuff, and I was like, they have books coming out this month. And I was like, ooh, nope, push it to next month. Push it to next month. You can't read nothing extra. So, yeah.
Yep. Let's see, Paco came through. Hello. Alicia, Pretty in the Books came through. Hello. Alicia and I are going to be live later today for the Who Picked This Book Club. So we read Sing Me to Sleep, and we'll be discussing that one tonight. That is a YA fantasy by Gabby Burton. So if you've read it, come chat with us. And Alicia's currently reading 6 books right now. Yeah, I know that struggle. Plus, on top of reading all these books, I'm also working on my fantasy story. So, like I said, the goal is to have it finished by the end of spring. So, I'm really working hard to meet that goal. And I am almost at 50K. So, hopefully, by today, I'll have my 50K down. But I am currently in the middle. And why are middles so hard to write? Like, I already have the ending written, so I know exactly where it's supposed to end. I have the last chapter written. I know exactly what it's supposed to end on. But it's like getting there is the problem. Because I'm like, I just want to get to this part. And I have like a Discord that I keep for my story, and it just has like a list of all the characters, like, because I have such a big cast. So it has characters and traits and like their magic powers and stuff and things to remember. Then I just throw like every time I get a scene idea, and it's not like something that would immediately work. I just put a scene idea in there. So I have like a whole thread that just says random scene ideas to see if I can incorporate them later or not. And just like other little things to keep me on track. Different things about the magic and stuff. But it is so hard once you get to the middle and you just like, I just want to go there, and you're like, I still have to flesh this part out.
I have not written a fantasy. I am definitely fearful of writing a fantasy because of all the other stuff. But just knowing how much work I put into the cities that I create for my characters to live in and whatnot, no, I can't imagine. Like, yeah, no, I know that's a lot of work. So I like multiply that by 10 when thinking of a fantasy. So more power to you. More
Yeah,
power
that
to you.
too. Like writing the cities and then trying to figure out, okay, I need this city to feel realistic. Like you need to kind of have a sense of location of where they're going. Like it's a lot of work. Well, it's a lot of work if you're doing fantasy right, because I've definitely read a lot of fantasies that barely explain anything, and I kind of hate those that leave you with like a lot of little questions that could have easily been answered. So like I'm really putting in the work to try and make this good, and I'm only on the first draft. A lot of people are like, "Oh, just do placeholders and keep it moving." I'm like, "Nah, I gotta flesh this out now, so that it makes sense and makes it easier for me for draft 2."
I
Oh,
definitely get that.
hello, hello.
Good morning. No, I definitely get that for sure.
Yeah, it's work trying to get everything right. Plus, you have all the magic powers to make them make sense, have them be challenged but not feel too overpowered.
Right, right. The scenes have to work together. And as the editing video that I watch, or the like common mistakes or things the author should watch out, that SM Ryan put out, like character arcs, like making sure your characters, like something actually happens to who they are over the course of the story. Like that's not an easy thing to do. You know how I know it's not easy? I read a lot of books where it doesn't happen. So that's how I know it can't be that easy, because everybody would do it.
That's true. I've read a lot of books like in the past couple of years where the main character started out one way and ended the same way
Right.
and really had no growth. In fact, there was a couple of times I thought they regressed, like between book 1 and book 2. It
Right.
was like, who is this? So it's definitely hard to work on those character arcs, and there's just so many things to keep in mind. Like right now, one of the books that I'm reading is a craft book called How We Do It.
Mm-hmm.
And I like there's this one section that is just questions you need to ask your characters to like figure out like things like what their views are on religion, what's an event that really affected them from their past, things like that. So that really has me thinking.
Yeah, I definitely want to get to that one after I finish Free Within Ourselves.
It is a good read, but since like I'm using the library copy, like I definitely want to get my own copy
But
to
yeah,
have.
that's one thing about craft books is you kind of need, because it's they're not necessarily linear. Sometimes you have to move around, and you can't know that you need to do that if you don't have enough time to get through the book, in my opinion. So I totally get
Right. Well, we've been chatting for a little while. It is 12:15. I'm gonna start with a 20-minute sprint. So I'm gonna pull the timer up and let's get into it. Read, write, just be overall productive, whatever you need to do. We'll see you guys in 20. All right. How did everybody do? Let me know how you did in the comments. So let me see how much I did. 133. That's not bad for a little 20 minutes. Jay, how did you do?
My bad. I was fixing myself something to eat, and because I was like, I need to eat and finish getting my stuff packed, so I am ready to go to the library. I was into an audiobook, and I am now 60% through the book, and I think at the start of the sprint I was 57%, so I got 3% during that sprint.
That's good. Is that one the violin conspiracy?
Yes, and I see why people DNF'd it, because right now I'm just like, F this boy's family. He getting insufferable, like all of this, like it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I really really liked Symphony of Secrets. And so now I just have a lot of questions. Knowing that the violin conspiracy came first, and know that we've had so many conversations about what people have to do in their first book and whatnot to get published. Like, why was this so horrible? Why are we subjected? Have you read it?
I have not read it, but I had heard of the violin conspiracy. I was going to read it, and then people would say like, "You really don't need to read that one." So then I kind of pushed it off my TBR. And Symphony of Secrets, I put on my TBR because you said it was really good. It came in from the library the other day, but I pushed the hold back for next month.
Yeah, no, Symphony of Secrets, I loved. Now there were moments in Symphony of Secrets where I was like, oh boy. With the main present day male character. But honestly, like this right here, it just feels excessive. Gratuitous if I'm saying it nicely, but definitely excessive. I don't
the racism.
Right. Like why I just had to go through a whole cop scene in this book, and we've already had to deal with racism like throughout. And I'm only 60% through the book, so I know y'all have outside of the fact that there's a whole underlying racism storyline in the story that's just crazy. So like I'm just
it gets to be too much in a lot of books.
And I truly wonder, right? Like I think about thinking about Black people in mental health right now, and if we're thinking about we're writing these books for Black people, right? If that's what you're writing them for, because then if you're not writing them for Black people, then maybe it makes sense. I don't know, but can you not imagine the ways in which these things would trigger a Black person? So, like, do you want Black people to read your book and have to deal with trauma responses on something that isn't even like, it's not like sexual assault on like that, you know what I mean? Like it's like, but it's just racism. Like as authors, are you taking the time to be cognitive of what your reader could be experiencing as they're visualizing, as they're hearing, as they're reading, like all the things that happen when you read a book for most people, you know? I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm talking like over you during your stream, but it's just
no, you're not. It's and it makes like a lot of sense.
Like I don't want Black people to feel that way. Now I understand thriller moments, heart racing, like I understand that. But you got me ready to go out here and be like, let one person look at me sideways that happens to not be Black. Oh, I'm gonna have to get my face together. You know, like I don't.
Yeah. No, I remember saying like I encounter more white people in books than I do in real life.
Like,
and I said that when I was still working, so I'd be talking to random people all day, like through my job.
Right. Like I think I talked at the library. I talked to 3 random white people. 3. That is the most that I'll talk to in a week.
And like every experience we're having in real life is not racism.
No, no, they're not. And in most situations, they're not even this outright blatant racism. They're very
Right.
microaggressive. Like this, I just, yeah. I'm gonna finish it because I didn't want to ask the author questions, and now I do. Now I just, why, sir? Why?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm rooting for you truly because I would love to see more Black men writers get their shine. I'm sure people feel like
Right.
there are a good amount of them, but I don't hear about.
I don't feel like
I
there's a
don't
good
feel like there
amount
are
of
at all.
them.
I don't feel like there are at all. And so like I feel like I like the number of ones that I hear about are so small. And so I don't want to do anything to not, to encourage people to
Yeah.
not give him a chance or anything like that. Cause like I said, Symphony of Secrets I loved. But also just there needs to be a conversation about the cost of trad pub. Because there are costs that are not just monetary.
Right. And I like the other day I dropped a reel just talking about representation of Black men in books because that's just like not something a lot of us think about because we're like thinking from the woman's perspective and we're like, oh, we have Black women rep, but like what about how Black men are being portrayed? Because I find, especially for like as somebody who reads like a lot of stories that have romance and stuff, if like the Black man is not the love interest, he's not in the story most of the time. Like there are none in the story. And that's like in romance, but also in fantasy, thriller, whatever.
And a lot of things Black men and Black boys get left out. And this kind of like this like one way that's like not literary that I saw, like, Five Below does a Black History Month plays. There is not one item that is specifically for men. Like every shirt says like woman in there at some point, or Black Girl Magic. Every cup says Black Girl Magic, or it has a Black woman on it. Like everything is like this, and it's just like I love these. I'm so glad that we have these. I'm not saying it's bad that we do, but is anybody thinking about the message that sends to little Black boys? Right? Like people say all the time, like, Black boys and their moms and da 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 da. Yeah, they have a very detrimental relationship, but there's a lot of times where they're not celebrated. They're just babied. And that's two very different things.
Yeah.
Two very different things. And so I'm appreciative of this author for sure. And I'm appreciative of the nature of even showing bad mothers, right? Because we have so many conversations about bad fathers and fathers not being there and da da da. And no one ever wants to talk bad about the parent that stayed. And so I appreciate allowing to have that conversation. Right? Like that's not even what's bothering me. It's like, sir, you got us dealing with all of that. And you added racism to it. You could have just left the racism out or like kept it at a minimum because there's already enough for us to contend with. You already got enough of an arc right here.
Yeah. And the whole thing about having too many plot lines in a book too is like a whole discussion because I read a book recently where it was a romance, but then and politics were involved because one of the main characters is running for political office. Just discussions about the careers involved because like both of them are trying to further their career. But then we have this whole other conversation that's happening about having a mom who is just treated too terribly, like mothers who are jealous of their daughters, and there wasn't enough space on page where that was properly addressed. And I'm like, well, we had all this going on over here with like the politics in their careers and stuff. We didn't really need that whole stuff with the family if it wasn't going to be done correctly.
Right now, I'm sitting here like, do you realize that you're not allowing people any respite, like at all? You're not allowing your characters any peace. So therefore, you're really not allowing your readers any peace. They're going from this person's point of view. And does that not bother you?
Yeah, and then I mean, we definitely handle like different things around the same time, but like it depends. Be like something could be like a major focus in your life for like a few months, and then you're dealing with something else
Right,
that kind of gets pushed to the forefront. We're not following these characters over years and years and years.
right,
We're only
right,
following them in a short space of time. So
right.
you can't really shove everything at them in a short space of
That
time.
part. Yeah, I'm just like, this is such an interesting story, and like, I'm not upset at the storytelling.
Hmm.
So, and that's good. I don't think the writing is bad at all. It's just everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. And like you said, of course, with the black men, there's not a lot of like well respected black men authors. Like, I can only think of like a handful, and most of them are deceased. So there's that.
Right, right. Like, and I can think of like a few that are making a name for themselves, right? Like, there, I don't think I won't read anything PJLA Clark publishes.
Hmm.
Like, everything that I've read of his, I've liked. Even if it wasn't like I loved, I've liked. I like his storytelling. I like his use of storytelling, and I will support that. Right?
Hmm.
Like, even though the Taking the Jake Livingston wasn't something that I would call like my forte or anything, I could respect that. Again, we very rarely have any of these books where you put a black student in a white world and they come out with black friends. And for me, I'm already going to give you a champion on that one if that's what you're doing. If you're actually showing the diversity in that, right? Like, that makes you stand out to me.
Yeah, and then just even what they have to write about, because like you mentioned, PJ Clark. I believe the majority of his books, like the main character is a woman. So that
Um
is
in
something
the
to think of.
in the tram one, it's a man. In the short story that was in
Because Ring Shot was a woman,
yeah, Ring Shot was
Black
a woman.
Rod Drums woman, his middle grade was a little girl, um,
And then the short story that's
the
in the
Dead
anthology,
Cat
it's a
Tail
boy.
Assassins is a woman.
Yeah,
And that's just like a theme I was noticing too. Like a lot of times when Black men do get published, then they are often lately writing about Black girls or women.
right. I'm curious about that. Like, is that because you want to, or because that's the space you have to get into?
Especially in the I find in like the kidlit, like in middle
No,
grade,
in
that
middle grade for sure. Because I see stories for middle grade black girls all the time. It's like once every couple of years we get one for black boys.
yeah, like we're just now getting some for like with Black boys as the main character, but even then I feel like they're kind of targeted towards girls more than boys. Like if you
Interesting.
understand what I'm saying, like they're not written in a way like where it feels like the target audience is actually
Ours is
boys.
boys. I haven't
Like,
read some of
Black.
those yet, but I'll be interested to see. Like, the only one that I've read is the ones that me and
Mhm.
Deidre did that you had recommended to her. That
Yeah, and those I feel like were definitely like targeting young Black
yeah, no,
boys.
I felt like they were definitely targeting young black boys. And outside of the last one being like, I don't know why you chose this to be the place they went. Other than
Mhm.
that, I was like, I liked them. I liked them all. They were really cute. They were really fun. Um, yeah. It's like I really want this generation to have their own like Walter Dean Miles or Christopher Curtis Jackson. Like, I
Mhm.
really would love that for them.
No,
'Cause
same.
Bud Not Buddy still reads like a 9-year-old boy. Like he still reads like a little boy to this day.
Mhm.
And I really want that for our young boys. I truly do.
LA. So I'm gonna go ahead and start another sprint. So let's go ahead and hop into a 25-minute. I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right. So how did everybody do that round? Let me know how you did in the comments. Not gonna lie, that timer did scare me a little bit. I'm just checking to see if I hit my goal for word count. And I did. So I am finally over 50K. So that is a big breakthrough for me on this project. How was that for you, Shay?
My bad. I'm not used to using the like tripod or whatever. I got my food cooked. I am still listening to the audiobook. Food is good. Trying to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. So I definitely understand like you got to get out of here soon. So I think we're going to end here. Are there any like announcements or anything that you need to make before we go?
I'm behind on giving y'all a video, but it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And next week, you know, will be the end of the Missy Elliott Readathon. So we'll be having the closing chat. I'll put that up. And we'll also be having a live Writerly Conversations next week. And you know, we might have a guest appearance on the closing chat for this year. So you know, y'all make sure y'all hit that notification bell so y'all don't miss anything.
All right. Thanks to everybody who joined us today and anybody who's going to use the sprints on the replay. And y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.